Again, these are very sensitive. No, Mr. Owaisi, that's because these are very sensitive issues. You know, this is clearly a killing that needs investigation. No one doubts about it. It could well be a hate crime. You could be right that it could be a hate crime. The only point is, in the times in which we live, one has to be a little cautious. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Rajdeep, whatever times we live in, we have to say the truth clearly and loudly without mincing words. I will reiterate again that it was a terror attack done by a person who was radicalized and who had become extremist because of the conducive atmosphere of radicalization and extremism that has been created by the ruling party in last 9 years. And that is why we see that this man has no fear. He's standing at a dead body with his licensed weapon, as if he has the human corpse which is lying on his feet is like some sort of a trophy for him. And everyone in that compartment just sits quiet. So it is a deliberate terror attack. To call it a hate crime would be understatement. To call him a madman would be completely wrong. He was in his senses. And that is why first he assassinated his ASI from the tribal community and then went on to 3 different compartments and shot Muslims.
Mr. Owaisi, you know, I don't want to engage at one level in whataboutery. Every crime is dastardly. But let's be clear. You will recall last year, just over a year ago, 28 June 2022 in Udaipur, Kanhaiya Lal Teli, a Hindu tailor, was murdered by 2 Muslim assailants. Now, let's be very clear. Do you also see that as a terror attack, or will that be called a hate crime? Let's be clear. Whether what happens in Udaipur or what happened in the railway compartment, we have to unequivocally condemn it, Mr. Owaisi. Are we very clear? If someone makes Sar Tan Ke Juda slogans and threatens to kill people, unacceptable. Are we clear on that?
Well, people who had assassinated Kanhaiya Lal are terrorists. No 2 things about it. I have said this at that time also, I am saying it now. My question is that if Kanhaiya Lal was assassinated, was murdered in a brutal way, the Rajasthan Congress government had given 50 lakhs to Kanhaiya Lal's family. But that same empathy was not shown when Junaid and Nasir were also kidnapped by these so-called Gau Rakshaks, but they are terrorists. They kidnapped them, took them to Haryana and burned them to death. And you know what the great secular party Congress did? The Chief Minister gave them only 5 lakhs. Now this is the point over here, that even in death we do discrimination.
But let's be clear, whether there's cold-blooded killing in Bhiwani, which is the incident you just mentioned, whether it is what happened in Udaipur, or whether it is what happened in this train yesterday, we are very clear these are all acts of terror that must be condemned, right? We're clear on that. These are unacceptable. You will raise your voice you will raise your voice as strongly as you would whether the victim is a Hindu or a Muslim.
Well, Rajdeep, you know, when people indulge in terrorism, I would say that terrorism has become the new religion. And all these people, they camouflage their brutalness, they camouflage their animalistic behavior by giving it a religious color. And this is what we had seen, which was done by the RPF person who was radicalized, who became extreme in his views, and the same thing happened to, unfortunately, to Kanhaiya Lal also, and to Junaid and Nasir.
But do you